Riley, I want to talk about inspirations, things
Mhm.
that we can draw on in addition to the wonderful adventure book itself as we are running or playing through Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep. When you are taking your players through Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep, one of the things that we know is that you are ultimately going to find yourself in what is, as of yet, a very mysterious and somewhat undefined but evocatively described region called the Netherdeep. And the description we have of it is that it is deep ocean meets the far realm. So think fascinating monstrosities, think twisted monsters, think a lot of pressure and a lot of danger and an alien environment in all the most interesting ways. So I would say one place you could go to get some inspiration there, Planet Earth, the documentary series. Maybe a weird pick for your fantasy campaign, but it has an entire episode called Ocean Deep about some of the extremely weird, cool stuff that exists deep, deep, deep in the oceans of our Earth. And I think that you could do a lot worse than sort of refreshing some of those influences for your descriptions, maybe even for your musical pulls, for your home campaign when you get to that terrifying realm.
I love it. I like when you first said planet Earth, I'm like, "You mean like the planet we currently live on?" Like, that's
Yeah,
just look at the Earth.
yeah, just
I
stand
would say
outside. Uh,
yes, I found it. Go to a swimming pool, just jump into the deep end, just sit there for a while.
yeah.
I think that also I think pulling from space science fiction because there's so much great sci-fi because like deep space can be very much similar to like the bottom of the ocean, especially like think about all the different like cosmic beings that the like people have encountered like in Star Trek, things like that. Or I actually right now, the Adventure Zone D&D podcasts are doing a season called Ether Sea, and they essentially took space opera elements and put them in a fantasy underwater setting. Like Griffin McElroy literally said, like I'm trying to do a space opera, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I think that thinking of those like deep space horror or those kind of things like Alien, like when you're stuck in space and no one can hear you scream, like that kind of thing. So you can get both that, like you said, your weird pressure issues and sort of that idea of like being in a completely isolated environment that you can't get out of easily. Like there's so much there to pull from.
And there is a rich tradition of aquatic horror movies to pair with those space ones if you're trying to mush them up together. And here's where I confess that I am not the horror aficionado. But there are a lot of great and fun, not so great movies that take the premise of the terrors of the deep and bring it to vivid life. You mentioned aliens, so as long as we're talking Cameron, you can always pull on The Abyss, a classic of sort of the mysteries of the deep underwater. But even more recently, if you saw the Aquaman movie, just picture him going through the trench and then just amp it up and throw it at your players. Please add your own picks if you have them in the comments for things that you think would make good inspiration to draw on based on what we know about Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep. And I can't wait to see how everyone's campaigns unfold.